Good morning, everyone. It is Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show, and we have an amazing show for you today. Not only is part of the show filming live at a convention with the wonderful Kyle, but we have an amazing series of guests from that convention. And then our big special guest with a brand new book is Joseph Illidge. Yes, the Joseph Illidge will be on the show today. So make sure you tune in because Final Order Cutoff is changing every week these days lately. And this is a big and important show to watch so you know how to order your comics this Monday.
Hi everyone, I'm Matthias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
And we have a lot of great comics on Final Order Cutoff this week. Remember, these are orders that will be due Monday, May 26th. And we have to say the comic book industry is changing how Final Order Cutoffs are due in slight ways, and where you're going to find that information. But before we dive into that, I want to introduce my wonderful co-host, Kyle. You're not in your normal studio, are you, right now? Maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. Maybe that's the question of what happens when we're live. So I want to go back to the original topic, fun of being live, guys. Final Order Cutoff. This is something we do, unfortunately, last minute every week because Final Order Cutoff finalizes at noon every Friday with changes in what publishers are publishing or what books and collecting orders by that Monday, what distributors are doing it, and with everything that's been chaotically going on with the new purchase of Diamond Comic Distribution, we're seeing some changes. So while you can traditionally find all the comics that are on Final Order Cutoff at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue, there you used to be able to find everything from Image, Marvel, Boom, Dynamite, Dynamic Forces, Dark Horse, IDW, etc. Now, this is going to still be your home for Marvel, Image, and a lot of the indie books, including Dynamite. But you're going to want to use lunardistribution.com for a grander image of everything that is DC Comics, Mad Cave, and Image Comics. And now, as of literally the past hour that we've been, prepping to go live, Previews World and Diamond have removed two parts of the publishing realm that existed through Penguin Random House, and that would be Boom Studios and IDW. You will no longer be able to see Boom Studios and IDW books on previewsworld.com. So you're going to want to check out prhcomics.com for that. And when we get a minute, I will show you how all of those works. We're going to show you some of the comics that are on final order cutoff. But with Kyle at a special location, let's cut to
Yeah.
him real quick. Kyle, where are you? What's going on? This is not normal.
I am in the freezing too cold Traverse City, Michigan. It's like 40 degrees here today, so I had to wear my big, heavy Rekka hoodie. But at Cherry Capital Comic Con, which is a very comic and creator-centric show here in Traverse City that I come to every year. We have a bunch of great comic guests, a bunch of great independent creators. Tom Waltz is here. Eric Powell's here. There are a bunch of other people whose names escape me right this second because I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off this morning. But so we will have a bunch of great creators. But the big reason I come up here is they give out the Gary Reed Independent Creator of the Year Award, which is an award given to an independent creator who is out there spreading Gary's legacy of bringing up those around him, teaching the comics, teaching comics and building creators up. So we have got great nominees for that. Dr. Christy Blanche, Gene Ha, John Garavaglia, who is a local guy who's doing a ton with teaching comics to kids, and Ryan Clater, who is a professor at Michigan State University. So like they're all the nominees this year. We also tonight will have the Steve Dillon Memorial Drink and Draw. Steve was a guest early in the show, and we do a celebration to him every year in coordination with his family. So a bunch of art gets created tonight, and then tomorrow night there's an art auction where all the money goes to Hero Initiative and to their local charity partners here in Traverse City in Steve's name. So like it's a really great show to come to. It's family reunion for me. I'm literally I fully expect to get tackled out of this chair at some point during the show. To have people walking up behind me, giving me bunny ears and stuff. Like this is a very dangerous situation for me, folks. Like the amount of trolling that can happen for me during this show is infinite. So you never know what's going to happen. I'm working to get us maybe a quick guest from the show. The person I was hoping to have on turns out checked their email this morning and can't talk about the book. They got an NDA in an email this morning. So, but hopefully we'll get some other great people to stop by and have a little chat with Matthias and I about, their work, about their comics. So,
not to mention at the turn of the hour, we're going to have the incredible Joseph Illidge, who was an Eisner judge with the nominee for Indie Award winner Ryan Clater. So that's definitely a fun small world. I do love that we have been doing this for over 6 months now and have never missed a week or a guest. Final order cutoff every week. We have managed to pull this off. So
sometimes it's by the seat of our pants and the skin of our teeth, but we're always here because the reality of it is sometimes retailers are ordering by the seat of their pants and the skin of their teeth. They're getting it in at the last second because people are still ordering or because they're not sure what they're going to do. And at the same time, we as fans, sometimes we're like, I know just last week I called my store and was like at 6:00 Monday night and went, hey, I missed a thing. I need to add this to my order, which is the last minute for them because their cutoff is 6. So like, it's this sort of game of sometimes you get by the last minute, but we're always here. We're always going to do it. So, and then today, like we had a bunch of last minute changes, which we should probably talk. Did you talk about? Have we talked about it?
And we'll be talking about that again momentarily when you can add an individual component. But I mean, you bring up a very valid point though, Kyle. This is one of those big pieces is that you always, as a consumer, want to reach out to your local comic shop as soon as possible with any order information you want to provide them, because it is something that is a by the seat of your pants. Now, this week we've had a lot of changes within the past hour setting up this show, but you providing information to your local comic retailer in advance never hurts. It's last minute that it always becomes a stretch. If you hit that moment after orders finalize Monday night, most retailers all do everything they can to guarantee you and get you the books that you want. But it is only by getting that information prior to final order cutoff that there's a true guarantee. And we know your local comic shop owner and manager and ordering folks love you and want you to get those books. No comic
Right.
shop, publisher, or distributor ever wakes up and says, how can we prevent people from getting their comics? But the more information
Sometimes
you
it feels like it, though.
yeah. But yes, the more
Looking at
information
you this morning. All right, we need to see the page, don't we? Boom.
All right, so let's talk about it. So again, previewsworld.com/final orders due. This was once the standard. In fact, it was the sole website to find final order information correctly for ages. But with the recent Chapter 11 bankruptcy and new purchase of Diamond and thus Previews World, it is not always the traditional beast that it once was. You can still find a lot of great information on here. But if for any reason you want to find the greater details of Image Comics, Mad Cave, DC, or others, lunardistribution.com is a great website where you can find all that. You'll simply view a website like this and scroll down to upcoming FOC. And you can make sure you're on the correct date to find all the books that are on final order cutoff from Lunar. Now the new one throwing in the twist, Penguin Random House. Penguin Random House handles distribution for Marvel, Marvel, IDW, Dark Horse, and Distillery, as well as they do hold DC's traditional graphic novels, trade paperbacks, and hardcovers. You won't find single issues there. But if you go to PRH Comics and then click their final order cutoff page, you will see a long, somewhat disorganized list that we have spent a lot of time working to be able to properly show off. You'll even find great manga from Kodansha, Square Enix, and others.
And
so,
guys, just remember, Penguin Random House now owns Boom Studios.
yes.
So as of Monday is the last FOC you can do where they can order those books through Diamond.
Yes.
Going forward, it will only be at Penguin Random House.
So, for retailers, that's a very important thing. For you guys, just let your retailer know they understand the hard job in front of them and they'll get it all taken care of. But yes, that does complicate the final order cutoff process a little bit more. For those of you guys watching at home, thankfully you already know that you can watch us and we'll point these things out. We'll handle and juggle all three of these websites for you. But if you want to see everything on final order cutoff each week, you're going to want to check previewsworld.com/final orders due,
If you want to sit down,
lunardistribution.com, and prhcomics.com.
Sorry, I had to turn my mic.
And with that information, hopefully you can find everything. We're always happy to help guide you, but it's all the more reason why it is important to share this show with your comic-loving friends or your friends who might discover or enjoy new comics. So, with that said, we're going to dive into Previews World and start looking over things there with Image Books. We'll have to have an addendum at the end of this over at Lunar Distribution, but let's start off with some of the books that are finalizing orders this Monday, May 26th. We have some big ones at Image. Bug Wars hits its penultimate issue. We're having the continuation of Charles Soule's Shrouded College with Cold Witch, the new 5-issue miniseries set in the same universe as Hellcop. And then we get big ones like Exquisite Corpses. Exquisite Corpses sold out on day one. It was a massive hit from James Tynion IV, Michael Walsh, and the entire Corpse crew. This is a brilliant book of murderers deciding who rules America in a twisted and unique alternate history. Number one gets a beautiful second printing with a large number of characters, the entire cast on that second printing cover. And there is a ratio variant. You're going to have to reach out to your local comic shop to see if they're going to qualify to get this, because perhaps they still have a good amount of first printings in store. But if you get that 1-in-10 ratio variant that could be a costly book, it is going to come polybagged with a brand new trading card for the Exquisite Corpses card game, and it will be your first look at the event cards for that game. Definitely
I'm going to spend too much money on this book.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I really have to question. I mean, I still definitely have first but I want that card. I think that card's going to be awesome. So Exquisite Corpses #1 gets a second printing. There is a #2 on FOC. We're going to hop over to Lunar Distribution where you can see that really quickly. I'm going to guesswork where the letter E is alphabetically on here. And you will be able to see momentarily the Exquisite Corpses #2. There we go. The
We
Exquisite
found the
Corpses.
E's. There we go.
So
That
quite a
green
few
was killer.
covers, great ratios. I love the Tuileauté stealth cover. The cover C always will come with a poly bag that will include one of the cards from the game, so you can get a taste of the game before the game is officially released later this year. But the D cover is always the stealth cover, focusing on one of the killers from the Exquisite Corpses game. And this one has the incredible Tuileauté cover right there, even though it's still listed as to be determined, because as we said, final order cutoff can be so last minute. Sometimes that information does not get to us all in enough time, making it so important for you to reach out to your local comic shop with the information. But beyond Exquisite Corpses, we have a brand new Spawn book, Bloodletter. I am beyond excited about this, but we're going to have a special guest in about 50 minutes or 40 minutes that will talk more on this, but I want to show it off. Look at that incredible Christian Rosado cover. This is going to be a new 5-issue miniseries I will be very excited about from Joseph Illidge, who will be joining us shortly, and Tim Seeley. Now, one thing that unfortunately Previews World did not get, so we're going to go over to Lunar, is the unbelievable Invincible Battle Beast. Invincible Battle Beast had a massive release on May 14th with the poly bags, with a million covers, and revived one of the greatest warriors in the universe, Battle Beast, for a new story. This ongoing series is continuing with issue #2. There are a ton of great covers, some high-end ratio variants, and if issue 1 did anything to give retailers and comic fans a hint of how big this was going to be, this is very important you let your retailer know you want a copy of Battle Beast issue 2, because I can easily foresee this selling out in a heartbeat.
I had to drive 5.5 hours from my house to get a blind bag.
Yeah, I mean, I ordered 400 copies. We talked about this very heavily on the show, that you needed to tell your local comic shop. We had over 100 subscribers at my local shop, the shop I run, and we ordered 400 copies for the wall. Between our show and the floor sales, we sold out before 7 p.m. We sold out of our floor copies before 5 p.m., and we sold out of all the copies we brought to our web show before 7 p.m. It was insane, the volume that we moved on this. And I told everyone this was going to be huge, and I was wrong. I underordered, is the amazing part. And Kyle, I mean, did you even get as many as you would have liked?
I'm beginning to get to the point where I don't know how many I would have liked, but I did not get as many as I would have bought.
There you go.
I can't quantify how many I would have liked to have had, but I do know the 5 that I bought are not as many as I would have been willing to buy had I been able to find them.
Absolutely. I mean, I got 6 copies of the blind bag and 1 or 2 different other covers personally, and I'm very happy with what I got, but I would have bought 20 to 50 more blind bags given the opportunity.
We've been talking about Ryan Otley all weekend, myself and the artists that I'm hanging out with this weekend. Like, we've been talking about Ryan Otley, and like, we were seeing him at shows back in the day when he was like doing sketches for $50. And now it's like, Ryan Otley, good luck getting his autograph because the line is 6.5 days long. Like, Invincible is so good, and Ryan's art, I'll be honest, it's the only reason I bought Invincible was Ryan's art. Ryan is a luckily doing shows like Cherry Capital, and like we have a guest here who will be joining us from Cherry Capital in a second, but you meet guys like Ryan Stegman or Ryan Otley or there are a couple guys here this weekend that are blowing up before they're anybody. Like, they're still out there doing the indie thing. They're still out there doing the fan art thing. And then you watch their careers, you see they're so good, and you watch their careers explode. And like, it's why I love conventions. It's why I love small local conventions. Like, it again, you never know who the next big name is, and so like again, I saw Ryan Stegman when all he had was fan prints and was drunkenly singing Monster Mash at karaoke at this same show that I'm at this weekend. Like, and now, like, again, he's Mr. Venom, he's Mr. Symbiote. Like, you never know. Like, and that's why these things are important. But then when you follow an artist like that, it's important to keep ordering their books early from your shops to keep them working. Like, we can't get Steggy to come back to this show because the dude doesn't get to walk away from his drawing board because he's so busy now. So we got to keep him working so we can, we got to keep supporting him so they can keep working.
Absolutely. And then again, I have to show off, as we're talking Ryan Otley, the Invincible Volume 10. It's crazy the TV show has now jumped ahead of these trade paperbacks, but this is some of the content that you saw in season 3 of Invincible now collected, including the astounding Wolfman issue number 11, which was not in the traditional Invincible trade. So I love these smaller format $15 trades with new artwork. They're awesome. You're getting Corey Walker doing covers with the Ryan Otley interiors, which is great because Corey Walker was one of the original co-creators of Invincible for the first few issues. But awesome stuff. So as I pointed out, though, you do have to bounce back and forth between Previews World and Lunar now to see all of the image stuff properly. I want to point out that you'll see things on Previews World that you're absolutely going to be the smart person if you get your order to your comic shop for, like on Black Ritual, as well as other books that you'll see on here that are not on Lunar. Red Coat number 13. It will not hurt you to get your order in on Red Coat 13 right now. But Red Coat 13 did get pushed to a later final order cutoff date. Lunar Distribution, being the official distributor of Image Comics, is going to be the more reliable source on this. But Previews World still has a great presentation, an easy way to transverse through the comics that are on final order cutoff. Now,
can I just tell you, I feel like I'm about to get murdered by an R2 unit or something behind me as the 501st are moving in. Like, I could just sort of see it out of the corner of my eye and in the camera. And like, just know I'm turning around and freaking out because there are droids and they are the droids I'm looking for. Okay.
So if you finished Andor season 2, you can just watch Kyle's camera and you have the same rebellious feel.
All right.
Before we dive into Marvel, let's go pop over to PRH Comics really quick. I'm actually going to really quickly show you guys a new tab on this. PRH Comics. Let's do this. Not the way that I would like to do this with all of the random things that will pop up from Firefox. But you will eventually, if PRH Comics works, get to see a website similar to this. And then you would link to comics on final order cutoff. Here is the PRH Comics website. You would see right down here, FOC May 26th, 2025. You will then be able to click that and get this website that does not load the best. Let's be 100% honest with everyone here. It is not the most organized website. You can try and load everything bit by bit, sort it by title A to Z, change your formatting. There's a lot you have to do to make this a viewable website. But once you do, you will see everything Penguin Random House has on final order cutoff each week. It is a mixture of everything, but the big ones I want to show you really quickly are IDW and Boom. Now, for IDW, there is just one this week. It is Godzilla Heist number 5. The big bank robbery casino heist with Godzilla in the background. It's a fun one. Obviously, you have wonderful variants there, but the big one I want to talk about are the Boom books. Boom officially switching and transitioning to have only Penguin Random House distribution now, as Penguin Random House owns Boom Studios. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a brand new Dune one-shot. Dune, Edge of a Crysknife, Hiding Among the Harkonnens. This is a brand new prequel of new content written by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. Brian Herbert, the son of Frank Herbert, and Kevin J. Anderson, his co-author, who have brought us countless prequel novels, and the finalization of Dune. And this one focuses on Shadow Mapes. Mapes was the Iraqian or Fremen who gave Jessica her crysknife in the very first Dune book. So you get the origin of the crysknife Jessica wields before she takes Paul into the desert. This is going to be a really, really cool one. Yes, I did have to bring a crysknife out for this. I probably should have to let a little bit of blood just so that way I can properly put this crysknife away. But this is a really cool origin story, a must-have for Dune fans, whether you're a Dune novel fan, a Dune movie fan, or just a fan of Dune sequential art video games. This is key stories written by the people who write those stories, Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. I am excited beyond belief about this one. A lot of great covers on this.
I'm so far behind on my Dune reading that like I'm going, wait, is he making these words up? Like that's how out of the loop I am at this point on my Dune reading.
But my favorite part is if you watch the very first Dune movie, whether it was the 1980s, the 2000s, or the modern film from the 2020s, you know Shadow Mapes. And if you've only ever read the first Dune novel by Frank Herbert, she is a main piece of that story. So
for sure,
very cool additional content that you can have with next to no entry point for Dune. Meanwhile, I got to show off Grimm, the incredible Stephanie Phillips comics of a young female Reaper. There is a beautiful 20th anniversary Boom cover by Dan Panosian. Once again, I've been saying this for the entire past year, but Dan Panosian is the height of his mini-decade career with some of the best covers in the comic industry, unquestionably, and this is one of them. So we had to show it off.
I did a live sale yesterday with a short box of kind of random things from a local comic shop here, and I found Dan's second published cover. And yeah, it doesn't hold a candle to what he's doing now. I mean, that guy is doing nothing but get better over the years, and he is just crushing it right now.
Yeah. So as you can see, a lot of great books that are going to be in the Marvel and Boom end that you can see on PRH Comics. Another big one, the last big one I have to do before we go back to Previews World, is Power Rangers Prime. Power Rangers Prime has been mixing the VR Troopers along with our Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of the future, and it has been an amazing, amazing piece. Melissa Flores has been doing a wonderful job with this. So here you have it. Power Rangers Prime. This is where you can see all the covers, and all of that information is at prhcomics.com. So with that said, we're going to bounce back to Previews World to see the rest of the Marvel books that are on FOC, as you can still do that. But if you need extra information, you can go to PRH Comics to see the comics on FOC, including things like Boom Studios, Kodansha, Square Enix, Tokyo Pop, Dark Horse, IDW, and more. But back to Previews World, let's look at Marvel. So let's take a deep breath, because Marvel always has the most on FOC. We have the second printing of Amazing Spider-Man 3, but then the big one, Deadpool 15. Now, why would Deadpool 15 be big, Kyle? Any idea in your mind?
Because it's Deadpool?
Because legacy number, it's Deadpool 350.
That's
Landmark true. 250th issue. It's Deadpool versus Death Grip, the character who first appeared in Deadpool #1 of this. And that's not all. We're getting a return of creators like Gary Dugan and Matteo Lowy, who have done many Deadpool stories, introducing a brand new villain that we'll talk about in our top 10 at the end of the show. As well as we're going to get a new installment of the Deadpool Samurai from the manga creators who have been bringing that hit Japanese piece to the comic pages in Japan. You don't have to wait for the manga or tankobon to release here in America. You get a brand new story in Deadpool 350. Big oversized issue. A lot of fun to be had there.
You know, just as another like little aside while we talk about Deadpool, where I'm at, Danny Way was a frequent guest and was the first big name guest at this show when they launched it. So, you know, he wrote many volumes of Deadpool, was a great Deadpool writer. So, you know, it's one of those things. It's a small world after all. Anyway,
Well, that's Anaheim, California, or perhaps other Disney-based locations, Orlando, Florida, etc.
Right. No, but like again, it's you had Danny Way was a guest at this show when it first started a bunch, writing Deadpool, and now we're FOCing Deadpool 350. So again, it's this industry is so small sometimes it's hysterical.
It's so small that if you want to track Kyle down this weekend, you can head out there. And I believe you're there all weekend, right? Just
I'm
wandering
here
the
all
floor?
weekend. I will just be the large guy, but not the largest guy, wandering the floor. Yes.
All right. But perhaps the largest guy, the strongest guy, the man made out of stone, the Thing himself, has multiple books on Final Order Cutoff this week, including his own solo piece by Tony Fleeks. But we're going to talk about the final issue of Fantastic Four number 33. This is done by Ryan North, the same man who will relaunch the series with a brand new number 1 the month after. But we're getting the final issue, and we're prepping for all sorts of fun with Fantastic Four, as this is a tie-in with One World Under Doom. I'm really excited about this, but keep in mind, we're not too far off from finalizing the orders for the new Fantastic Four number 1. So you get a great crossover here, some One World Under Doom, and prep for the new Fantastic Four number 1.
And only because you mentioned it, guys, and it doesn't make the list later. It's none of this kind of thing. But the Juan Cabal cover of Thing number 2 is just amazing. So if you head over to previewsworld.com, you can scroll down, you can check that out, and you'll see what I mean. The Thing and the only thing that makes the Thing softer.
No comment. No comment.
It's his cat, man. Like, it's the Thing holding his cat, like, on his finger.
There it is. That Yancey Street Cat.
Yep.
So we got to talk about Tony Fleeks, who talked about the Thing on the previous show. Now we get to talk about Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, who talked about the Giant Size X-Men event that they've been doing and will be releasing throughout the summer. Giant Size Age of Apocalypse will be the newest one-shot to hit Final Order Cutoff, with Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly taking Kamala Khan through the history of the X-Men and the Marvel Universe. This one also has a backup by Jeff Loeb. Yes, Jeff Loeb, former head of Marvel Television, is back writing Marvel Comics with Simone DeMeo, and we're getting some Age of Apocalypse fun. I was discussing this with a Penguin Random House staff member yesterday, but there was a period where it felt like all of comics in the early 2020s was reviving the 90s, from foil to lenticular, a million variants, and now it feels like we're hitting the 2000s again with Jeff Loeb back in writing, Matt Fraction. We have a Hush number 2. It just feels like we're hitting a lot of that early 2000s love again. And Giant Size Age of Apocalypse, even though Age of Apocalypse was a 90s masterpiece, brings back a lot of the 2000s fun, and getting Jeff Loeb back in comics alongside Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly has me excited. So great covers available on this. One of them is going to be in our top 10. Let's see if you can guess which, because there are some stunning covers on Giant Size Age of Apocalypse number 1. I'll be shocked. Let's see if anybody in the comments can guess which one of these covers hits the top 10, let alone what spot. Then, if you didn't read Kevin Scott's Gwenpool number 1, what were you thinking? This was an amazing relaunch of Gwenpool with some changes and twists that shocked us. Obviously, that means it's getting a second printing with Stefano Nessi doing a great cover. Yes, the original Gwen Stacy returns. Well, does she? Did you read the issue? If you didn't, you need to grab this second printing, because that is quite the twist. I am honestly excited. I think Kevin did a brilliant job with this. So don't miss out the second time with that awesome second printing.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm talking and I'm muted. I was not excited for the new Gwenpool, but I got it because it's Kevin Scott, and boy, oh boy, was I wrong to not be excited. Issue 1 was so good, and the changes they've made were so strong. Like, in terms of what it did for fixing the character, that it just, again, it reignited my love of the concept of Gwen Stacy doing things other than just being Spider-Man's dead ex-girlfriend.
I will say there's a lot of misinformation I saw leading up to the release of the book, and even after, in various comments on comic news sites, forums, Facebook, social media across the board. Judge it for yourself. I will say this: I can spoil it and tell you, why it's all wrong, but a lot of people just jump to conclusions based on covers and solicits, clearly not having read the story because it wasn't out yet, or refusing to read the story from their own personal biases. But this is a story worth reading, and I think that people will enjoy it. And it is truly a case of you cannot judge a book by the cover, even though there were some amazing covers on it.
No, it's true.
Kevin really did a great job, and is clearly a fan of both Gwenpool and Gwen Stacy, as shown in the interiors.
Yes, and that's the thing. That's the thing I want to point out is I had made a lot of those misconceptions, but I know well enough to trust Kevin Scott.
Yeah. It's that reminder once again. No one ever wakes up and says, "How can I ruin comics?" But lots of great books on FOC. Remember, you can check these all out on previewsworld.com/finalordersdue and PRH Comics. A lot of wonderful Star Wars as we get a second printing of issue number 1 of the new post-Return of the Jedi Star Wars books, and the wonderful Legacy of Vader that takes place between episode 8 and episode 9 of the sequel trilogy. There is your cover, by the way, by Juan Cabal. If you were curious what Kyle was talking about earlier, beautiful shot of the Thing and his cat. Tony Fleek's another one like Kevin Scott, clearly a fan of the character, knocking this out of the park. I only wish these were both ongoing series and not miniseries. But Marvel mainly continuing things on. You can, generally know if you're on this, if you haven't checked out things like Vision and Scarlet Witch, Gwenpool, or the Giant Size Agents of Apocalypse, Giant Size X-Men, Giant Size upcoming House of M, and more. Definitely on
they're back here.
incredible order list as Kyle gets hugged by random strangers.
Dirk Manning.
That's Dirk Manning, of course. The small screen, hard to tell. We all love Dirk.
he's gonna bring me something I'm gonna show you guys a little later. He just completed a successful Kickstarter with Josh Mallerman, who wrote Bird Box. Josh will be here at the show. Dirk is here. That book will be available through Simon and Schuster to the direct market, I think in a month.
Oh, there you go. So reach out with that title, momentarily when you find out about it.
He's going to bring me the ash can.
Taylor can grab it. But here's an exciting one. Dynamite. Dynamite is back on FOC, and I am so excited. There are 3 great titles that are on Final Order Cutoff this week for Dynamite. Herculoids, issue number 5, some stunning covers on that. It has been absolute nostalgia reading this book, issue after issue. But one that I'm beyond hyped about is Red Sonja Noir. Red Sonja is back, written by David Avallone. We are getting a noir, and I mean, if there's anybody who knows noir, it is David Avallone. We're getting a noir story in Hyboria with our Red Sonja protagonist. Remember, she's got a movie coming out hopefully later this year. And this miniseries, I think, is going to be beyond exciting because Red Sonja is not somebody I would think when I think of noir story, even though her predecessor in the way of Conan came at a time where noir was the key thing with incredible talent from Robert E. Howard. This will be a first, I believe. I don't believe we've ever had a noir story with Red Sonja.
No, but I will tell you this. They did the Vamp for Vampirella. They've done several of these noir twists on the ladies of Dynamite in recent years that have gone over really well. And I'm going to say something on the air that I've only ever said to Nikki in private. You're a moron for not doing more of those. These books are always great. They would sell like hotcakes because people really do like the difference. So again, don't miss this one. And if you get your local comic shop, check the back issues for the Vamp. It's a Vampirella story that is in a similar vein to this.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I mean, I am so excited to see what David has in the ready for us with Red Sonja Noir. And then we talked about it on a previous week where shot the gun a little too early because Final Order Cutoff adjusted. But Vampirella #3 is now on FOC. A million great covers on this. Christopher Priest just kicking butt with this book. Issue after issue, I've been seeing more and more people discover and dive into the lore of Vampirella, which is great because this is an amazing story. So, Vampirella, Red Sonja, and Herculoids all on FOC this week as we get more from Dynamite. Hopefully, as things settle with Diamond, we will see more books from some of these great publishers that are still exclusive to Diamond coming out with a bit more regularity and maybe even a return to a more solid previews world page. We can all cross our fingers and hope. So, with that, Kyle, I mean, is there anything else crazy going on in the convention, that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, like I said, there's load-in is happening behind me. My friends are showing up, but we have a guest creator live from the convention. This is Dave Brown, through the Storm Comics. I see Dave at like every show I do in Michigan. This dude is a prolific con guest, prolific artist. Everything I've seen, everything I've read has been great. So I'm gonna turn the camera and let you talk to him because you don't know him, which would be fun for me. And I will be here to help out. So give me just a second to turn the camera, and I will get everything set up.
Dave, our most unique show ever, doing live from a convention floor. So, do me a favor, Kyle. Give us the full screen. There we go.
Hey guys, how you doing?
How's it going?
All right, all right.
So, what brings you out to the convention this weekend?
Well, beyond the fact that it's at the Travis Resort, and spa, it's like the most relaxing place pretty much. And the local people come up here to support and everything like that, man. It's a fantastic relaxed place, man.
Awesome. So, are you set up? Do you have a booth?
Oh yeah, I'm all set up.
What's your
All
booth
ready.
number so people can track you down?
901. The Art of Dave
901.
Brown.
All right. So, what's the
I'm
big
like,
thing you
as
brought?
soon
to
as
the
you
booth?
come in. Say again.
What's the big thing you brought to the booth for this convention?
I brought me. I brought my work. Everything that's pretty much, it ain't just me myself though, but it's like me, showing my art style, my comics, all written and drawn out by me. Me expressing myself pretty much for the culture really.
Awesome. So, what type of comics do you put out?
Oh, I'm all over the place pretty much. I have my main book 1313, which is based off pretty much like a, the obviously 313 is pretty much Detroit, which is where I'm from, and it's about this corrupt mayor pretty much taking over Detroit, and our heroes band together to figure out what's going on. It's kind of like a Street Fighters meet Detroit kind of like thing. I have horror books. I have mystical arts books. It's like I dive all in. I'm a straight 80s, 90s baby. So it's like all those movies, cartoons, that's all I'm about.
Love it. So, if people aren't able to make it out to the convention, to make it out to your booth, can they find your comics online anywhere?
Of course. You can find me at Dave Sketches 007. That's at all social media. My website is also the art of Dave Brown Jr.com. You can find me anywhere. I tell people, hit me on Instagram if you ever want anything, any kind of Pacific print, any kind of commissions, any kind of comics, hit me there so much quicker.
That's awesome. So, how many comics do you have with you? How many different comics do you have with you at the show that people can check out?
I have 4, but yet though all 4 books have 3 issues inside of them. So it's like they're on pretty much volumes, pretty much.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
we have
get pick up any.
All right. So we have one obviously dealing with a corrupt mayor of Detroit. You have a horror piece. What are the other 2 titles?
Pretty much mystical, pretty much a guy who got gifted with these mystical powers, but he's trying to figure out why should I protect the world that don't protect somebody that's like me.
Interesting. I like it. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that title?
It's Code Supreme. He's pretty much, just like I just said, pretty much, like trying to figure out why should he, take on this big responsibility. This is a guy who works a 9 to 5 pretty much and still got to pay all these bills. And it's kind of like he still don't feel like, well, I get the credit for this kind of stuff. I don't get the credit at my workplace. So, it's like, I understand it's like, to protect the world, but do I have this time for this really?
I like that. What was the title on that one again?
That's Code Supreme.
Code Supreme. I like that. That sounds good. So, all right. And can you remind me, what was the title of the one about the corrupt mayor?
That one is 1313.
1313. All right. And those are available online if people track you down on social media?
Yes. If anybody want to track me down, you want those, that's exactly how you track me. Dave Sketches 007, or like my website, theartofdavebrownjr.com.
That is great. All right. I hope people who manage to make it out to the convention swing by and actually chat with you, but otherwise track you down on your website or social media to discover more.
If you fill out the form, the FOC show form, and you do it this weekend, I will pick them up from Dave at the convention and ship them to you myself, especially if you're one of my regulars here on the EXP.
Awesome. Even better.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank y'all so much. I really appreciate y'all so much.
All right. So I think we're going to dive back to some indie books over at Previews World, as we just have a handful of awesome ones to cover. Reminding you, Oni Press has an awesome new series, Benjamin by Ben H. Winters. This one is really exciting and very, very Philip K. Dick-esque, as our protagonist finds himself in a hotel almost living out one of his own stories. This is going to be a fun series that I think is really going to push the line psychologically and give us all sorts of odd tastes of sci-fi displacement that should be really, really intriguing. Meanwhile, Oni is also wrapping up their ultra popular EC series, Epitaphs from Abyss, with its final issue. Don't worry, EC is still coming out with more, as one of the stories from Epitaphs from the Abyss is spinning off into its own miniseries in the way of Blood Type, and we are about to get a brand new EC miniseries to run alongside Cruel Kingdom. So, all sorts of EC fun there, but I'm personally excited to see a new Matt Kent horror piece in this anthology.
And we talked about Cruel Kingdom last week with not Cruel Kingdom, Blood Type last week, Karina Bechko. So you guys know about that. That's already been FOC'd. So make sure you order this, because if you don't, then that's not going to make sense.
All right. Then a big one I'm also excited at from Oni is Kill Them All. Kill Them All is a brilliant graphic novel from Kyle Starks that came out several years ago. We're getting a new deluxe edition hardcover prior to the film adaptation that will be coming out from Paramount Pictures and director Sam Hargrave. So I think that one's going to be a really, really awesome one. Kyle Stark's always good with his incredible books. Everything from Peacemaker, currently hitting stands right now. The classic Sex Castle. He has done.
Well, Where Monsters Lie, Where Monsters Dwell.
Yeah. So always amazing stuff there.
Kyle Stark's brain works in a weird way, and when he puts that into comic books, they are awesome.
Indeed. Let's pop over really quickly and take a look at what's DC putting out over at lunardistribution.com. I want to remind everyone, if you hop to lunardistribution.com, you'll see a webpage like this. You just scroll down a small bit, make sure you're on upcoming FOC, and the date is correct, that it is May 26th in this case for this Monday. where you will see some great second printings restocking your local comic shop with the missing Absolute Batman issues that have been selling out hand over fist. Maybe your shop is lucky and knows how to order correctly and has some first printing still available, but if not, this is a great way to catch up on the issues that have been selling out. Speaking of Absolute, we have Absolute Flash hitting a brand new issue number 4 on FOC with some stunning covers, as well as a trade paperback and hardcover for Absolute Superman in case you're missing issues of that.
Oh my god, the hardcover! I'm so excited for the Absolute Superman hardcover. Like, these hardcover volumes of these Absolute books, I think are, in my opinion, are going to be the way to collect them. As great as the single issues have been, they are going to look so good on a bookshelf. I can't even begin to fathom how good it is.
Oh, yeah. And if you haven't heard already, Adventure Comics 210 is getting a facsimile edition, which is the first appearance of Krypto, the star of the new Superman movie. Let's be 100% honest. Everyone's going to see that movie this summer because of Krypto. So you can get the first appearance of Krypto, and that will be absolutely amazing. But here's the cool part. If you go to your local comic shop and pick this up, the week of release, there is a chance to win Krypto's Golden Biscuit. And what is Krypto's Golden Biscuit? Well, it will be the equivalent of the golden ticket of Willy Wonka form that will get you passes to go to the premiere of the Superman movie along with James Gunn. 2 lucky people can win one of the Golden Biscuits. No matter what, you're going to get a great deal and a reprint of a classic Adventure Comics issue, that first appearance of Krypto. But you have the chance of winning tickets to the premiere of Krypto's movie, Superman. So
and I'm going to put it out there now. Jay, I will not be photoshopping you a fake Golden Biscuit or something. This is not a Willy Wonka situation where, like, we're going to have, oh, the last one was found. No, it's a fake. It's a fake. We're not doing that. All right. I don't need to get in that kind of trouble. I know you want to go see the movie with James Gunn, but you're going to have to buy the book yourself.
All right. Then here's a big one. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 40. Batman, Superman, World's Finest has always been great, but this issue has not only a key storyline, but a key cover, as you can see here. And to hear about it best, let's hear about it from the source. So, Kyle, can you take it away?
All right, let's do this.
You guys have seen it, but I'm so excited about the new Superman coming out.
Yeah, the movie, the DC movie, right?
Oh, no, not the movie. The movie. No.
Oh.
I'm talking about this exclusive variant cover of Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 40, featuring Superman and me at this desk right here. Look at that. Come on. Look at that. Superman, Batman.
Wow.
Look at me right there. This is a huge honor, okay? Thank you, DC. Honor not only to be on the cover with these 2 crime fighters, but also to be added to the storied list of other celebrities who have had cover cameos, including Sir Paul McCartney, Sir Jack White, and Lord William Shatner. So, thank you. Thank you, DC. Thank you. This is available tomorrow. When did we get this? People can get this tomorrow? What? And why am I talking about it now? June 18th? Why the urgency of talking about it today? Why did I get a note saying you have to talk about this tonight? Oh, they're showing everybody else the cover tomorrow, but I'm breaking the news tonight on the show that I am special enough. Okay, I understand that part. Anyway, thank you. I want to thank DC not just for this honor, but for, if you can get a shot of this, but actually giving me a chin again at 61. Thank you. It's very nice. This baby will be available at comic book stores again, as he said, a month from now. Supplies are limited because I already bought a bunch of them. There you go.
This is going to be one of the rare times that you will get Final Order Cutoff basically mentioned on primetime television, as Stephen Colbert gets to join the likes of Jerry Seinfeld, Paul McCartney, William Shatner, James Gunn, Nick Cage, and others on celebrity cameo DC covers. but I guarantee you this is going to be a high demand book. So if you want one, I mean, you look at those Jerry Seinfeld and Paul McCartney ones, they go for quite the value on the aftermarket too. You want to let your local comic shop know to get it, because if they're not late night watchers, they probably don't understand the demand that book is going to get. But
yeah, no, I just picked up JFK's cameo in Superman. And the thing I realized when I picked it up, it came out 2 days after JFK was assassinated. Like, that book is historical on a couple of levels. So you never know. Like, obviously, I hope nothing bad happens to Colbert, but like, maybe, he wins the late night war or something 2 days later. We'll see. But with Superman on your cover, you can't go wrong pairing him with a celebrity.
Absolutely. I always love those moments. I mean, and the idea that it will drive new people to comics, that's always the goal. Not only for other fellow readers, so we have more people we can talk comics with, but for shops. So definitely let your shop know if you want that. But here's a big one that you need to let your shop know you want. And the best way I can intro it is, before I intro it, I need to intro the video that talks it up. So all right, that was one of the most exciting comic trailers I had in a while, but even more exciting is right there on screen is the incomparable Joseph Illidge, writer, editor, and all-around master of comics who has worked everywhere from DC to Valiant, former Eisner judge and Inkpot Award winner, former editor of Milestone books in the Batman series, and now author of the newest Spawn series, Bloodletter. How are you doing, Joseph?
Hey, are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you.
We can hear you. Hopefully we can get this going. We're doing an odd show where we're live from a convention floor in the way of our production with Kyle.
Okay, I will be back in 2 minutes. Okay, I'll be back in 2 minutes.
We're going to bring Joe right back on this. Always the fun. Live footage every time. Always a bit of chaos.
That happens sometimes. Like, people just need to refresh their page, refresh their feed, and they'd be good to go. Especially when you play a video like that. So hopefully he'll be right back and we'll get it taken care of. But can I just tell you, like, I was loading up the images that you sent and playing the video earlier, and I had like a wall of artists behind me looking at this book going, oh my God. Like, there were so many people standing around going, wait, what is that? And who is doing it? And it's a what universe? Like, when we show you guys the images, I do not think you're 100% ready for what it's going to look like. Like, this book is just going to be, it's just so crunchy, so crispy, so nice looking.
Well, one of the nice things, we've had some incredible guests here talking about various Spawn books in the new Spawn universe expansion of titles. But this is probably one of the ones that has me most hyped. I have been loving everything from the Book of Nyx to the Curse of Shirley Johnson. But Bloodletter, this is like a whole new thing. So as soon as Joe gets back, I cannot wait to talk about it and show you guys more than just that incredible trailer that came up.
Right.
Definitely one you're going to want to let your local comic shop know you want. Because a 5-issue Spawn miniseries, I could see it getting under ordered, but it shouldn't be. This one is incredible.
And here's the thing, like, if you don't know, if you're questioning, if you're not sure, just go on Joseph Illidge Wikipedia page. Right? Like, the man has done so much in comics and pop culture that has changed the game over the years that if you're worried about Bloodletter, you clearly need to get educated on who is working on Bloodletter. So I'm going to let you guys do that by bringing him back on stage and making myself scarce.
Hello, we got it this time?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome back, Joe. So
Thank you.
I had given you that huge prep.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So again, we're going to give you the whole intro one more time. The incredible writer, editor, all-around master of comics from DC to Valiant, former Eisner Judge, Inkpot Award winner, former editor of Milestone books and the Batman series, and now the author of the newest Spawn series that we just spent the past 5 minutes talking to no end about how great it is, Bloodletter.
Thank you very much for having me. You're very kind. Happy Friday, everybody.
So, Joe, you have this amazing new series here that you were working along with Tim Seeley and Christian Rosado. How did this come to be?
You know, it really goes back to, so Tim and I both worked at Heavy Metal together, and we were friends before that, but while we were working at Heavy Metal, we decided, hey, let's start working together on some things. We're very simpatico. And so from then we tried to figure out what would be a good thing to work on. And I connected with Thomas Healy, who's the editor-in-chief of Todd McFarlane Productions. And he was a fan of Heavy Metal and a fan of ours. So then we got to talking, and he really told us about how the Spawn universe expanded. And that was a great opportunity to find new angles from which to look at this new world, this mythology. And so we came up with Bloodletter as this revenge story, because if you're going to go into Spawn's world, you want it to be important to Spawn. So we had to make it something that connected to his past when he was Al Simmons, a CIA agent working for Jason Wynn before his days as Spawn. And so that way, when we brought it to the present, it was personal for him. And that way it's personal for the people who care about him, right?
Absolutely. So in that, you have this character, Tasha Thornwall.
Right.
Is she a new character, or is she somebody from classic Spawn lore?
She's 100% new, but part of what we're doing with Bloodletter is we're going to show the secret history of the Spawn universe. So her origin story goes back 10 years, right? And if you look at the continuity now, basically Al Simmons has been Spawn for like 5 to 7 years. So she was always around, but she was operating in the shadows, because what you find out in the first issue is she's gone underground and incognito. Why is what the first issue tells. And so she has always been around for people who have been reading the Spawn comics, but she just never reared her head. She's been hiding. And this book tells you why she has to come out now and why she's got a mean vendetta against Al Simmons.
That's awesome. Now, I mean, one of the first things I think everyone's going to catch on this is those incredible tattoos on Thornwall. Can you tell us a little bit about what those are? What's the story there?
Those tattoos are all connected to spells. So basically they represent mystical protection or gateways to mystical power. And she has to use blood for these spells. So she has to use some of her own blood to create her magic. And so these tattoos are all permanent in her skin, and they represent connections to different deities, different mystical powers. They all connect to the 10 years that she's been learning magic and she's underground.
Yeah. Now, would you define Thornwall, who is our protagonist, as a hero or a villain for Spawn?
So everyone is the hero of their own story, right? So in Tasha's mind, she's the hero of the story, and Spawn is the I think by the time you get to Bloodletter 4, you'll have one opinion. And by the time you get to Bloodletter 5, you'll have a definite answer. But in her opinion, she's the hero of the story. And to me, that makes for more interesting characters, right? When you're talking about good and bad and everything in between, sometimes it's a matter of perspective, right? Who is the victim? Who is the victimizer? And so she considers herself the hero. Let's see as we go along.
Awesome. Now, the thing I really enjoyed about this is this gives a bit of a tour of the Spawn universe in a truly expansive way, bringing us to different regions and continents we don't always get to see in Spawn. So what led to some of the destinations of choice in Bloodletter?
You know, that was really Tim and I talking about what the first issue would be, and he was the one that picked this location, this locale, you know, South Africa, as where this first issue is mostly going to take place. There's a flashback that happens in Haiti that connects to Tasha's origin. Tasha is Haitian and South American, so there's a very particular reason why she was in a mission in Haiti. That and coming up with the stories has really just been just sort of like this great synergy of thinking. We're really on the same wavelength on a lot of things, and we both love the Spawn universe from different perspectives. I think Tim literally has all the issues of Spawn. I remember buying Spawn #1 at my local comic shop when it came out. I was there for the emergence of Image Comics and all the new titles, and so I've been there since the beginning. And you know, I've gone in and out, but I've just had a kind of different relationship with the mythology. But listen, if you're going to do this, you know, make it global, right? Because Tasha used to be a CIA agent, which means she's traveled around the world. So if we're going to introduce her, we're not just going to have it just be in New York. That's kind of boring. Like, let's see how far the mysticism of Spawn's world goes.
No, and on that note, one of the cool things is you don't pull your punches in there. It appears to incorporate South African pidgin in there. Is that perhaps Fanakalo, or who brought in the usage of different language, I guess, or different forms of English into the comic?
Yeah, that was really Tim for South Africa. When we get to Haiti, they're going to be speaking Creole, but we're going to have it in English and bracketed. But again, that's also important too, right? That when you're in a place, it feels like that place. It feels like that place to your eyes. To some degree, it feels like that place to your ears, right? And so having that kind of lingo, that kind of vernacular is, you know, part of the job, and it's part of the experience.
Oh, that is awesome. I mean, Bloodletter FOCs this Monday, May 26th, releasing on June 18th. But this is just in itself an amazing piece because it can stand alone, unrelated to Spawn. You can grab this miniseries and just dive right in for a really cool worldwide culture of paranormal twists, badass female. But in the same, it very clearly is a Spawn book. We saw in the preview page, Spawn is there. Are we going to see any other incorporation to current Spawn books in this?
Yeah, you're definitely going to see some direct references in the second issue. You know, I really think all the way across the board. I think in issue 2, it's really direct. In issue 3, there's a flashback. Issue 4 is major. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's a very important issue. And issue 5 as well. I think, you know, what we wanted to do was kind of weave in and out of the Spawn continuity throughout the entire series. Because to your point, #1, if you've never read a Spawn book, if you've never read anything in that world, you can enter through Bloodletter #1. And if you have, when you enter, you're seeing things from a different perspective, which is part of the fun, especially for the fans who are the total experts on everything and are reading all of the Spawn universe books. So it's interweaving through every issue, but some issues it's more direct than others.
That is awesome. So when this book incredibly takes off and all of a sudden becomes one of the top selling Spawn pieces, do you want to return to it after 5 issues?
Oh, 100%. Because listen, you couldn't have told the guy who bought Spawn #1 off the racks when it came out that he was going to get an opportunity to walk around in that world. And Todd has just been great. You know, Tim and I had opportunities to talk with him, and for him to just really make us understand his characters, the way the world works, and just really open the door for us. Thomas Healy, the editor-in-chief, has been a great guide. You know, our team, Christian Rosado, the artist, DC Alonso, the colorist, getting variant covers from Raymond Gay, which is just like pretty amazing. That guy's doing like great variant covers on Medieval Spawn. And so we definitely want to come back to that world. We have a big story in mind for Tasha, right? You know, when you create a character, when you make yourself part of a mythology, you don't want to just do a one and done, right? You want to do a big saga because the Spawn universe is so vast. And so we would definitely like to come back. You know, it all depends on, you know, how the fans see this, if everyone loves it. But so far, everyone's just really had positive things to say about it. They're really excited, and I can't wait until June, and then we can just really start talking about it, because then I don't have to hold back any spoilers. It's like, okay, we all know what this is about now.
All right. So for obvious, you know, Spawn fans, the second you say things like CIA and the like, you have an idea of where this could be going with Tasha. But if you have never read Spawn before, what is your pitch for those who have never read Spawn before? What is your pitch to get people into Bloodletter? What is Bloodletter?
Tasha Thornwall is a mercenary who's a mystic. So basically, this is where John Constantine Hellblazer meets Grayson, right? It's the combination of magic and covert intelligence. And she had a run-in with Al Simmons 10 years ago. It went bad for her. And so she's been forced to live underground and learn magic from the streets and the dark corners of the world. And she was lost. And then she finds out that Al Simmons is alive as Spawn because he revealed himself publicly to the world on television. And now she has a purpose again. And her purpose is to kill him. Awesome. She destroyed his life. So he destroyed her life. So she's going to end his, right? And it's personal for her, and we'll see if it's personal for him. But this is a really classic revenge story with some twists and turns.
So the superior paranormal John Wick.
That's a good way of looking at it, right? There's a number of people that Tasha's going to have to run through to get to Spawn, and you saw one of them on one of those covers, right? So, you know, she's going to have to run into a lot of people. Some of them are pretty close to Spawn. Some scorchy characters.
It's a pretty interesting tease you gave about that cover. I mean, I don't know what possible cover could be, you know, shown.
Cover we're talking about. I don't know who we're talking about, but
that poor owl, right?
I think people will recognize who we're talking about.
Awesome. So, Joe, when people fall in love with this, if they haven't already tracked you down and aren't already following you for every amazing piece of, you know, comic edition you bring to this world, where can they find you to learn more?
Everywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. I'm all over the place, and, you know, really want to thank Todd McFarlane, Thomas Healy, the people from Todd McFarlane Productions and Image Comics for their support, because I made and produced that trailer to help spread the word, and they really gave their support with it. And so it's part of the way that we want to bring the fans in by giving them a taste of what they can expect. So you'll be able to find me everywhere for the conversations.
All right. And is that just going to be under your name on all that social media?
Yeah, it'll be under my name, except for Instagram, I'm Illmaster1. But the others, I'm either Joe Illidge or Joseph Illidge or Joseph Illidge.
All right. And then you have a website, a very beautifully designed website. The URL for that is?
Yeah, so that is josephillidge.com. And that's where you can, you know, kind of plug into me and see different things. There's actually a Bloodletter page because you had to give the series a page. And yeah, I'm just all around. I'm not trying to hide. And I'm already loving connecting with all the people who are excited about this. I'm thankful to all the people who have already pre-ordered this with their local comic shops. It makes a difference, shows a sign of support, and Tim and I and the team are dedicated to giving everyone their money's worth.
Absolutely. Now, you're never somebody who just sticks to one thing. Is there anything else you're currently working on that you can give hint at right now, or too early to say?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm working on, but I can't talk about them right now. It's a bit early, right? I just finished up the Shadow Cabinet over at DC Comics. The Shadow Cabinet Collected Edition is going to be coming out August 20th in comic shops. So that's a thing. I'm going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year, so I expect to be on a number of panels. I'm looking forward to talking with a lot of people there, and we're talking about doing a signing for Bloodletter at Todd McFarlane's booth there, so that'll be great. And it's always good to see fellow Spawn family members there, the different artists and writers. So yeah, I'll be around, but right now it's all Bloodletter all the time. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. I mean, I can feel it because literally right behind your back, you can see that full catalog of Spawn.
Listen. Once that gig was set, it was like, okay, you got to go do the research. So I went to my local comic shop, well, one of them, Bulletproof Comics, and he had all of them, and I was just like, give me all of them, right? And you need them at arm's reach, because when you're writing and you need reference, you're like, hey, I just need to be able to go right here and say, okay, this happened in Spawn 294, this happened in Spawn number 8, right? So it's reference.
Yeah, and I love it. I mean, it's the perfect point of this entire show. You go to your local comic shop to track down what you need. They're there to support you with those books. And then, of course, you want to let them know before Monday that you need to order Spawn Bloodletter.
100%. Pre-order it. I'm the type of person where I pre-order an entire series. I don't just pre-order a first issue. If I'm interested enough, I'll just say, look, put that whole series on my list. So that's what we would recommend people do with this. And again, it's going to be a fun ride. We're definitely leading to the promise of the big mix-up between Bloodletter and Spawn. It's going to be down and dirty. And what the aftermath of that is, we're going to see.
That's awesome. So, Spawn Bloodletter #1 releases June 18th. More than enough time for you to get your copy and then head out to San Diego Comic-Con to get it signed. Thank you so much for joining us, Joe. I am so hyped. Kyle's got something. He has.
I just got to say, I'm actually live at a convention right now, and the number of artists and creators who are walking behind me, literally stopping and going, wait, Joe Illidge is doing Spawn.
Wow.
And freaking out. The excitement among fellow creators for this book is very high. So
that's great. I mean, we really dig it because, listen, like I said, I remember when Image Comics, came into being and how it just changed comics, and visually they were some of the most exciting books with some of the craziest characters. So being able to be a part of that landscape, that's an honor, right? And again, got to give thanks to the Todd Father, right? Not everyone gets to walk in that universe, but he gave Tim and I a shot. He gave us the whole 1 hour talk, and we were like, okay, let's go. And from what we can tell, everyone's happy with it. So we hope the fans will be happy with it too.
I just love the excitement you're talking about this. When you have decades in this industry working on some of the biggest titles, some of the top selling things, from Batman to Bloodshot, heavy metal itself, you have worked some incredible talent. But the excitement you have to be working on this Spawn title just has me even more intrigued. As somebody who's already got a chance to read the first issue, I cannot wait to get it in my hands.
Thanks. No, we really appreciate it. And the fact that it's one of the best storytelling mediums there is. There's no other experience like it. And so, it doesn't matter how many cool characters I get to work on. I'm never going to get tired of this, right? There's always an interesting terrain out there that I haven't got to operate in yet. So, and what's always important is, wherever you go, do the best for the people, right? Comic books cost a lot of money. We know that these are a crazy time for retailers. I've been going to comic book shops ever since I was a kid. So I'm a comic book shop guy. And so when we do these things, it's for love and it's for appreciation of what everyone does, right? We're all in this together. You know what I'm saying? And so it's gratitude. And so with gratitude, that's how we do the work.
True labor of love on it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Joseph. I know that you're constantly busy with the comic industry, so it was an absolute honor to host you, and I am excited. June 18th, Bloodletter.
Thank you both. Looking forward to hearing the reviews afterwards.
Awesome.
Everyone have a good one.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to dive back to Lunar Distribution for the last of the DC books that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday before we hit that top 10.
Can
Gotta
I
love
just
one-
real fast say something
Yeah.
about
Oh.
Joseph Illidge?
Yeah.
When the EXP was new, our very second event was Black Comics Universe, and Joseph Illidge was one of the first people to sign up. Like, and he was the big name. He was a keystone name on that show to come on and just talk about comics and talk about stuff. And his passion and his love for this industry and for this work is always just so infectious. Like hearing how much he was hyped for his own, for Spawn or for Bloodletter and for all of this kind of stuff. Like, if you don't feel that, you're not human, is all I'm going to say. So.
I will always say Joe is a class act that just builds up the hype and interest. I mean, years ago, I remember talking to him about books that he was doing at Lions Forge, and
Right, that's when I first met him.
Yeah, he makes you excited, but not without reason, because having read issue 1 already, this is an awesome book. All right, guys. Let's get back to Lunar. Let's talk about some more amazing comics. Remember, you can always see all these things that Lunar has on FOC by just going to lunardistribution.com, scrolling down to the upcoming FOC and making sure you're on the right date. One of the exciting ones coming up from Mad Cave is Bitchcraft. And this is where I get in trouble with YouTube or wherever we're streaming on, because I shouldn't be saying that.
Spelled with a Y.
But it is spelled with a Y. This is a very interesting Afrocentric tale of paranormal magic, and I think it is beautiful. It is a very LGBTQ positive one. If that is what you're looking for, I think you will enjoy it. Stunning interior artwork, just every bit, and you can see it even on the covers. The covers give you a good hint of just how beautiful the insides are, though that incredible swabby cover, absolutely amazing. This is going to be a fun one of a interesting mixture of gods and witches, necromancer, and more, trying to save the world from something that has been unleashed. And I don't want to say too much more because it's so easy for me to potentially spoil this. But Bitchcraft will be a great one if you have ever been a fan of modern urban magic and feel you need more diversity in those stories. This is a masterpiece. Aaron Reeves just truly knows what he's doing there. Continuing on, some of the most beautiful covers coming out from DC are always on Catwoman. We have lots of books from various publishers coming out. We even have more in the world of Spawn with Deadly Tales of Gunslinger by the incomparable Jimmy Palmiotti. If you have never read Darwin Cook work, you are doing yourself an injustice. But the easiest way to affordably hop on that is Darwin Cook's masterpiece. DC New Frontier is getting a $10 compact comics edition. That is $9.99 for the entirety of DC New Frontier. One of the best DC stories of the past 20 years. Nothing you can scoff at on that. But if you want even more, not only is DC getting on the Darwin Cook love, Skybound and Image with Act 4 is releasing Darwin Cook's Complete Spirit as the Connoisseur Edition hardcover. You're getting Will Eisner's Spirit and story as told by Darwin Cook, both writing and drawing, and you're also getting the Batman Spirit crossover that was written by Jeff Loeb with Darwin Cook on art. This is amazing.
It's a good week to be a Darwin Cook fan.
It really is. I mean, this is, of course, done under Scott Dunbier's Act 4 publishing, which is being put through Skybound and Image Comics. Scott was one of Darwin's close friends. I believe he was even, part of one of the groomsmen at his wedding. But Yeah, this is just a exciting piece because I own all the single issues, and knowing how great Scott is at putting together hardcovers, I'm gonna rebuy this because I'm sure this will blow my mind.
And again, in the "it's a small world after all" kind of thing, Darwin was someone we routinely saw at shows here in Michigan. So many of the folks that I'm with here at the convention would have or actually considered Darwin a friend. And so to see the love that he's getting with the re-release of these books is just again good for the soul, good for our industry, and good for my friend group here. So like again, it's a great week to be a Darwin Cook fan.
Absolutely. Also want to point out, if you haven't noticed, Lunar Distribution now carrying shirts. We showed off some of the incredible Titan shirts of Doctor Who before, but now we get the 15th Doctor and the 15th Doctor in denim. Don't get wrong, not a denim shirt, but
Canadian tuxedo.
Denim. Yeah. A shirt rocking some denim on the 15th Doctor. Nakuti, just has been amazing. I don't know if you guys are watching the new season. It's awesome. But if you're loving the new season, you got to track down these awesome shirts with our new Doctor on them. All the fun stuff at Lunar Distribution. You can remember see all of the great Exquisite Corpses #2 covers that weren't on Previews World here, as well as some of the covers that Previews World wasn't showing, like all of G.I. Joe. One we have to talk about, The Future Is. We had the incredible creators, Fred Van Lente and others, on the show a while back. We're waiting for issue #1 to drop in stores, I believe,
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, yeah. But issue #2 on FOC a little early. You can get that in. This one is a traditional sized issue for a very great price. Yes, it's not $3.99. It's $4.04. But don't worry, you can find this comic by reaching out to your local comic shop and getting an order in. Definitely worth doing because Recca is a new publisher. Your comic shop maybe doesn't watch this show and doesn't know to order it, but you can put it on their radar. Look at that awesome jacket that Kyle is, rocking right there. And he's rocking it for a reason. That's not a paid advertisement. A, that's an amazing jacket, but B, it's honestly a great comic series. This is a dark dystopian future, but yet it is a comic filled with hope. It is an amazing story from Fred Van Lente. It has beautiful artwork by Ennio Buffi. And then my favorite part on top of all that is that it also teaches you how to hack. I can't make my cell phone work 9 times out of 10, but I know how to basically hack certain things and code minor concepts because of these comics.
And so two things on this. Remember, guys, I've been saying it. It's Leverage, or it's Ocean's 13, or it's Scorpion. The show Scorpion meets Firefly in terms of the outlaw nature of what they're doing in a very futuristic world. But remember, if you play the CTF game in this book, and you make the leaderboard, you send me a screenshot of it, and you make the EXP leaderboard where we will have exclusive prizes here on the EXP. And if you beat me, I have even better prizes.
Ooh. I don't think it's that hard to beat them. Just throwing it out there, guys. Get on
that. I have a pretty high score right now. Let me be real honest.
Do you?
Yeah. It's almost on. I almost shouldn't make the challenge out of fairness, but too late. I already did it.
Oh, well, let's see how that changes when the comic hits stands next week.
Oh, no, absolutely. I want, this is what I want. I want people to play the game. I want people to challenge me. I want people to be better than me at it, because that means the book is successful and I love this book. So like, I hope I come in last, because everybody's trying so hard.
I don't know. I'm still pretty low on the leaderboard. And when everyone gains access to the comics, I'm sure Greg's going to challenge you and blast past me. But all right. Let's see what other fun ones there are. Obviously, G.I. Joe #8 didn't really get a proper showing on Previews World, but look at all the amazing covers there, including the Jason Howard Energon Universe 2nd anniversary cover. Look at Optimus Prime rocking it out there with the various Transformers and G.I. Joes. It's everything you want on there. There's just not enough Void Rivals for me on that cover, but I'm still loving it. We have all sorts of fun ones on there. I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, the incredible, incredible comic that is. If you're not reading it, go to your local comic shop, put it in your pull, add it to your, order, or let them know you want it. I mean, just an amazingly hilarious book for being so dark and twisted. You can see lots of this stuff, if not all of it, on FOC this week. One of the big ones is Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton. I wish this was an ongoing series, but Ryan North is busy doing Fantastic Four. So with 2 movies hitting this summer that he's doing tie-ins to, you get Fantastic Four, and then for the summer, Superman, Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton. This gives us the origin of Crypto, how Crypto left Krypton and ended up on Earth. It is a super cute story. It hits your heart in all the right ways because Crypto is a good boy, and you know it. I cannot express my love of this book and how brilliantly put together it is. They do a brilliant job of allowing there to be a story from the dog's perspective where you're still getting the readings of what Jor-El and his wife were doing. Well, Kal-El was just a baby, how Crypto made it to Earth, and then some shocking twists throughout it. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
And then,
Yes. I have to, that Jay Lee cover, my God. I remember when they announced it, like seeing it on the beat going, I don't care if this is like a really ridiculous incentive. I will order the requisite number of copies at full retail to get this cover. This cover is just so fire.
yeah. I mean, and Crypto's such a good boy. You got to buy all the covers. I mean, how many
Right?
sketch covers should I put you down for, Kyle? 50, 60, 380?
We'll talk.
All right, there we go. So all sorts
We'll
of
talk.
fun. Yeah, I mean, brilliant, brilliant books. IPI dropping out its new Moon Goddess comic by Stephen Koch. This one's a fun one with some great Asian influence. We have a lot of wonderful continuing series in there, new collections, all sorts of fun. More Spawn than you can shake a stick at, or even a Hellspawn at, with a second printing of The Curse of Shirley Johnson, my current favorite Spawn book on stands until Bloodletter hits, as well as Rat City. And then another big one as the Summer of Superman hits, and then I'll let you get to it, Kyle. Oh, go
No,
ahead.
I picked up my copy of Curse of Shirley Johnson yesterday. I was going to read it last night, but I fell asleep with it on my chest. So I will be reading it tonight.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
bed.
that's not one you want on your chest for reasons you'll find out shortly.
But that's the joke. Like, I know why, because I flipped through it. But like, it's one of those that I'm very excited to read that tonight. Plus a couple of other books I picked up yesterday at the local comic shop here in town. But that looks so good, and I'm so disappointed in myself that I haven't read it yet to be able to talk to you about it today.
Well, let me ask you this: did you pick up the new Superman Unlimited #1 this week?
I did not.
Oh, so you don't know Superman's new power, which was amazing, or about that the world is covered in kryptonite and it is no longer a rare mineral. You need to go grab Superman Unlimited. Not just you, Kyle, but if you don't already have a copy and you are a Superman fan, Dan Slott's new take on Superman is awesome. It is wonderful, and it does some great status quo changes that will excite you. And if this cover isn't haunting, let this cover be the haunting piece, because
Okay.
kryptonite is everywhere now. No, I loved Superman Unlimited. I am all in on this. I cannot wait for issue #2. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, yeah, they were sold out. I intended to pick it up, but they were sold out of it, which is a good sign. But it is on my pull list when I get home from my LCS, so I will get it when I get home.
So I'm going to do a first here. I'm going to read an entire solicit because it is rare that a solicitation is a masterpiece like Titans 24 is. But the Titans are in for something terrible. It is a terrible day for the Titans, who are attacked by a terrifying villain intent on terrorizing our heroes. Yes, we're unearthing a classic Titans villain for this landmark issue, one who is not afraid to fight dirty. Of course, we can't tell you who the villain is, but just maybe, if you were a genius level comic book reader, which I think most of the viewers of the Order Up show are, maybe there is a small, almost infinitesimal chance you might be able to figure out who this terrifying villain is. Masterpiece solicitation, I will absolutely give nod to, with some great covers as we have a return. And I'm just, at this point, I can't say who it is if you haven't figured it out. But I am super excited about Titans 24. John Layman has been kicking butt since he took this title over from Tom Taylor. And I didn't think you could dethrone Tom Taylor in the Titans realm. This is awesome. Yes, Greg, you clearly have got it. It is somebody from that country. Somebody from that country. But Titans 24, beyond exciting. Return of one of my favorite 1980s Teen Titans character. This will be a wonderful one. I'm really hoping everyone has figured this out. I mean, Kyle, I know that sometimes you are the person I have to go to as the comic expert. But are you able to figure out who the villain is on Titans 24?
Maybe just 2 sentences in. But it's one of those things is that when you think about great villains in the DC universe that are underused, you think about great villains in the DC universe that would fit with this particular Titans team that has been just such a force. There aren't a lot of people who stack up. So when you're trying to figure out who can they pit against the Titans, there's only a couple it could be. And then if you read the solicitation and you bash your head against the wall in a certain kind of way, it'll come to you.
I mean, it's definitely going to leave me rereading Judas Contract tonight.
I wasn't going to be that explicit with it, but yeah, like that's one of those, if you haven't read Judas Contract, pick it up. If even if you got to get it from like the library or one of those things, like, because your local, it's not one that every local comic shop's going to have on the trade shelf necessarily, but gonna want to read it.
Well, oddly enough, it's a good thing that you can always ask your local comic shop to order it because it is available in print right now. So always worth doing. Rare that I talk about Walking Dead nowadays because Walking Dead ended years ago and we are doing the wonderful color reprints of the deluxe edition. But I really want to point out this amazing Walking Dead 115 cover because it is a cover not only by Matt Wagner, but his son, Brennan Wagner, as well. Really cool father-son duo piece on this. Always going to be a Grendel fan, so I got to point that out. And then cool. The last one I have to talk up is Wonder Woman 22. I mean, I'm already so hyped after last week's talk up of Trinity, the daughter of Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 22 has a bevy of great covers, including George Perez. There's a delightful Pride cover by Kevin Wada, and then just some amazing storytelling because Tom King is kicking butt on this book. Mm-hmm. But before we get to the top 10, is there anything you want to talk about, Kyle?
Well, I have another another creator here at the show with me. So I thought maybe since you talked to the made a big sale retailers, man, walking around showing you cash live on the internet. But no, I've got another great creator here that's here at the show, and you got to talk to Dave. I thought maybe I would talk to this creator and let everybody get to know him a little bit, and then we could do our top 10. All
right, let's see. I'm most curious. Who do you have, Kyle?
All right, I'm going to have him come around here so we don't have to adjust too hard. All right, this is Goblin Grimm is what he goes by on the internet. Give everybody your real name.
It's Seth Abear.
Seth is a local creator. He's got his book here. It's called Hell's Bells, and that's Bells with an E.
Yep, I work with the creator on TikTok. She's vastly well-known, JC. She also goes by See You Later on TikTok, and right now she's actually on a book tour with her first romance novel. So, and it's a bestseller and topping charts right now, which is awesome. So, but this is all the same universe as her skits and her novel.
Very cool. And I know See You Later from TikTok.
Yep.
So is there a here, I'm just going to put the comic closer to the camera.
Go for it.
So people can see the cover.
That
Is
awesome with the cover.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the story for people who maybe don't know the TikTok lore?
So it's a help desk in hell that once in a while you get a Karen or somebody who's confused and doesn't know what level they go to, or they just don't want to admit that they go to a certain level and they want to go complain to somebody and maybe try to get preferable treatment, and they go up to the help desk and usually get read the riot act and usually sent back to wherever they're supposed to go.
And how did you and See You Later get hooked up?
I did fan art of I did like a fan comic of the very first Hell's Bells skit when she first started, because I was following her for Big Shovel Gardening. And when she did the first Hell's Bells skit, I did like a little comic, 1-page comic based on that. Everybody liked it so much, she ended up hiring me to do some merch for her. And I continued doing a couple of little comic strips here and there, and that's what's in the book now. But I still work with her doing merch designs and working on official character art every time a new character is brought in. It's usually a combination of working with her or taking suggestions from fans as to what they think the character looks like, and then creating the character profile from there.
So is it just the one issue so far, or how many issues do you have?
This is the second issue, but second issue is basically just a remastering of first issue plus a Vox Machina style D&D inspired 8-page add-on. And then I went through like some of the art pages from the first one and then made it look like Sharky had scribbled all over them and added their own little notes and pictures and stuff. So it's kind of like bonus content, so to speak.
Very cool. What's your booth number here at the show?
I think I'm 906, I do believe.
All right. And then if people can't make it to the show, because we're all over the country doing the show, if people can't make it, where can they find you on the socials? Where can they support you? Do you have a website, stuff like that?
I am on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, not so much these days. Basically, just Google Goblin Grimm, and it's Grimm with 2 M's, and you'll find me somewhere. You'll find my shop and everything. It'll pop right up on Google.
Perfect. So they can pick up the book from you there.
Yep.
But again, like I said earlier, if it's something you're into, fill out the form for the FOC show, and I will pick it up for you here at the show. And I will pick it up here at the show and ship it to you with your comics when I ship out. Is this how many Cherry Capitals is this for you?
I think 6 or 7 by now. It's been a few.
Yeah, he's here. Goblin Grimm's been here every year I've been here.
Yep.
So it's it's one of those. Is the thing about Cherry Capital Comic Con where we're at this weekend is you see the same faces every year because people want to come back.
Oh yeah.
People want to be here, and it's a great big family community sort of thing. So again, it was like I want to get some people on from the show. Well, who are people that I maybe don't know as well that I just know are people that are here all the time who have been doing it and have stories to tell and stuff like that. So I want to thank Goblin Grimm for coming on. Everybody, the book is Hell's Bells.
Yep.
With an E. Hell's like normal, and then Bells. You can find him on Instagram and TikTok, and on the internet, just Google Goblin Grimm. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Is it time for the top 10?
Let's do the top 10 big books on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, May 26th. And we're going to start it off when we get to that top 10 switch with Fantastic Four, number 33, that final issue of Fantastic Four, but it's the Phineas and Ferb variant by Dan Povenmire. Dan Povenmire is the creator or co-creator of Phineas and Ferb. And I got to say, it's a notably younger series than me, but as my son is now obsessively watching it, I can see the love and interest. And they're about to relaunch the cartoon series later this year. So this has been getting a lot of attention. I think this is easily something that retailers could accidentally sleep on. So if you're a big Phineas and Ferb fan, or you want this really big one, you want to speculate on something that will draw a lot of attention after the fact, I think this is going to be one of the great ones. Phineas and Ferb Fire, Human
And-
Torch Fire.
Dan Povenmire is a great follow on social media as well. So if you follow him, I'm sure he will be promoting this. He's a big comic fan. And I got records on my fingers and I just can't stop. Phineas and Ferb fans will get that.
All right, Titans 24. As we said, all right, I'm going to say it now. You ready for me to say this? Are you okay with it, Kyle?
I mean, if they haven't figured it out by this point, like, they deserve what they
It
get.
could be terrible. All right, it's Tara. Tara, yes. The incredible, ground-shaking character, the pseudo former girlfriend of both Beast Boy and Deathstroke. Not something you can often say. Tara has a stunning cover by Homer on Titans 24. I am so ready to have Tara back with this comic. Then in spot 8, giant size Age of Apocalypse, the Ivan Talavera cover. All of the Ivan Talavera Marvel covers lately have been in super high demand, with Blink, in my opinion, one of the most iconic characters to come out of Age of Apocalypse. This is a must-have. Then you'd just be wrong in not ordering Bloodletter #1 from your local comic shop. This new Spawn title is going to be great. Christian Rosado does a stunning cover. And remember, if you like that cover, that's how the interiors look. Christian Rosado doing the interiors as well. This is a brilliant comic. Now, one I'm excited about, this is actually, this specific issue of Vampirella has made it to 2 top 10s. We showed off the amazing cover a while back that did a 1980s homage. Now we have the FOC exclusive cover by Mark Spears. Now, this is a homage to Jose Gonzalez's Vampirella 19 from back in 1972. That iconic finger pose with the bat on there, but Mark Spears masterfully recreates it with the moon background. This is something you did not get a reveal of until FOC this week, so definitely worth grabbing while you can. Now, I know not just the comments, but Kyle himself were all about the J Lee crypto cover. It's a great cover. But that good boy moment Dustin Nguyen has done on crypto #1 of crypto first exiting his own rocket ship that brought him from Krypton to Earth. Beautiful piece. And I mean, you can't ever deny the incredibleness of Dustin Nguyen's watercoloring.
And what did I say? I would buy as many books as I had to get the Jay Lee. So I was looking at all these covers going, God, I love the Dustin Nguyen too. Well, okay, I order 20 of those if I have to order 100 of this to get the Jay Lee. Like, there are so many good covers on this book. To pick just one is impossible. But that doggo cover right there, that is just, again, you just want to give him scritches.
Yeah, my crypto's hiding behind me right now, like busy sleeping over here or showing off as well. There we go. All right, so let's get to #4, Herculoids. And wow, I don't think the childhood me ever thought you'd be attracted to a character in Herculoids, but Joseph Michael Linsner will have that effect on you.
Yeah.
And what can I say?
Joe Linsner will make a book that I'm not loving a book I buy with just this cover.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get sexier than alien blobs.
Right.
Then we hit Deadpool #15. This is the Matteo Loli cover. This is the one I have to point out. Earlier, I mentioned Gary Dugan and Matteo are back on Deadpool after years away from the title. And they're coming back introducing a brand new character. This is the character right there on the cover, Kurami Ito. Kurami Ito is a low-vision, tech-assisted assassin that makes her first appearance in this book. And that means that is her first cover appearance on this, too. The deadly debut of Kurami. So not only if you're big on first appearances, you want that first cover appearance, this is the book. Who knows? Maybe Kurami Ito becomes the next big thing. She could be the hit monkey of 2025. So worth grabbing and paying attention to. Obviously, we saw it on the late night show with Stephen Colbert. It's Stephen Colbert done by Dan Mora with Superman and Batman on World's Finest issue 40. this is going to get demand. People watch the late night show. People love late night television. They will come to the comic shop and grab this book. Every one of the Cameo books has been a big one that has had aftermarket value. That means it's because it's sold out at comic shops, it's sold out at distribution level, and people still wanted it. So they're paying a premium on the aftermarket, like eBay, whatnot, and whatever. This is why you always go to your local comic shop that will take care of you, that will take your orders and guarantee you get this book. It will be set aside waiting for you at cover price, as it should be. Have that good relationship with your local comic shop. Treat them well so you can get the books that you want and get this order in before Monday. But that's not the number one, is it?
No, but real quick, I absolutely want to say Dan Mora does such a good job with this, like his covers recently, and this cover particularly, like Stephen Colbert. Look, you can recognize from a mile away that's Stephen Colbert. You can recognize from a mile away that's Superman. I just noticed Batman in the background. Like, I've been looking at this image all morning, and I just noticed Batman in the background. That's how the depth of this piece is. Like, again, I was like, oh, it's Stephen Colbert. Oh, hey, that's Superman. What's Stephen Colbert? Oh, hey, the title of the Superman book. Wait, is that Batman in the background? You know, it's just every time I look at it, it's great.
Yeah. And I totally imagine Batman's the type of guy who goes to live filming, shows and hides in the background. There's been a couple. Obviously, there was the Amazing Spider-Man Falcon. Don't forget, Tech Jansen. He had Tech Jansen comics with multiple covers and multiple issues back when he was doing the Colbert Report.
Right, he is doing Jay Lee pose or Jim Lee pose in the background.
Yeah. All right, here's the big one. Zatanna number 5. It's the penultimate issue of Zatanna. And we have an Alexander Lozano cover for B. If you guys remember, a while back for the Summer Superman special, Alexander Lozano did that incredibly sexy Supergirl cover, and it sold out everywhere. It became a $40+ book on the aftermarket on week of release. Not to mention, he did that KRS exclusive cover of Supergirl number 1 that hit last week that sold out its entire print run instantly. Lozano is becoming a hot new creator. He could be the next Mark Spears. Who knows? One way or another, Alexander Lozano is getting some attention, and I think this Zatanna cover is not to be slept on. You want to reach out to your local comic shop before Monday at 6 p.m. and tell them, I want Zatanna 5, that Lozano cover, because it's a beautiful cover, because the amazing, amazing content of this brilliant comic series, and you hopefully have all 4 issues that Campbell has done. Or because you want to speculate on value. No matter what, there is no reason not to grab this cover because it is amazing all the way across the board. From interior pages, great storytelling, beautiful cover, aftermarket value, everything about this one easily hits the number 1 for the Monday, May 26th FOC. I mean,
yeah, and like, again, I've been talking all show about how I'm hanging out with a bunch of artists this weekend. And I pulled this image up earlier when I was getting ready for the show, and we talked for 25 minutes about how he did that fur.
Yeah.
Like, and everybody had a different opinion on how you would get that effect. And I'm sure none of them are right. But at the same time, like, this is what makes this art great, is that it's so detailed, it's so good. And then the lighting is just perfect. And no one can really decide, again, how he does it, but he just manages to pull off this realistic feel on a cover that is, it's clearly not realistic, but it feels realistic.
I mean, there's 8 different textures in there. The fur on the actual rabbit vice the fursuit rabbit are totally different. Then you have the fur of the nice fluffy outfit that Zatanna has over her normal outfit. You have what has that leathery latex look of, clothing, the gleam that, makes it really glossy looking. And again, there's parts of it that are photorealistic, and then there are parts of it that just look like a beautifully animated masterpiece. Lozano is truly brilliant, and that Supergirl cover caught my attention weeks ago when we had spotlighted it. We spotlighted it before it became a $40 book when you could still reach out to your local comic shop and order it. So all the more reason. We don't tend to mess around with these. I think almost every book we have done a top 10 on over the weeks have been big deal books. So do not miss out on this. As always, reach out to your local comic shop. Your local comic shop. Call them. They are wonderful. They want to take care of you. They want to sell you books. And this is a book you want to buy from them.
Yeah, I mean, it isn't like Matthias and I don't have like 50 years of experience doing this. So, you know, we've,
Oh,
you
don't
know,
age me that much. It's true, but
right. It's, you know, between the two of us, we've been doing this a long time. So we know, you know, when we recommend these covers, guys, it isn't just for our health.
there you go. So, on things that are for your health, you know what always helps is spreading the word of the experience, spreading the word of Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show, so all of your friends and all of your fellow comic readers can get the comics they want ordered through their local comic shop. It helps support you guys getting the books you want, helps support your local comic shop and selling the books they need, helps the publishers, the creators, everyone, because we all need to be reading more comics, collecting more comics, and enjoying sequential artwork. But that's not the only thing the experience does, because what other great shows are there coming up this week, Kyle?
Well, tonight at 7 is Nikki and the Original Art Show. And Nick, he uploaded his art, and there are some covers in there that are... Anyway, and then Nancy will be live at 9 Friday Night Live from Comics Unlimited. I will be live tomorrow afternoon, probably doing a live sale, and then later in the day for the Gary Reed Independent Creator of the Year. No, that's today's Friday, right? Yes. Okay, so tomorrow afternoon for the Gary Reed Independent Creator of the Year Awards, we'll be streaming that live here on The Experience. Again, that's nominees are Dr. Christy Blanche, Gene Ha, John Garaviglia, and Ryan Clater. Then
all four of them.
Potentially tomorrow night, I will be live from the art auction where you guys will have a chance to bid on the art that was created for the Steve Dillon Memorial Drink and Draw. And we can get you guys, donations. We can get to, we'll get that taken care of so y'all can bid on that. Then there are no shows on Sunday because I will still be at convention unless I decide to go live from my hotel room. And Monday is a dark day here at the Experience. No one is doing a show on Monday. We're all going to take the day and remember those who served and those who tragically gave their life in service to this country. So we're going to take the day off and spend it with our families and in that way, or driving 5.5 hours home from convention. And then Tuesday, we're back full throttle with Minute to Skim It, Welcome to Wonderland, and Kicking It with Henri. Followed by Wednesday, we will have Comic Collectibles with Rex. It'll be the only Comic Collectibles show this week. And then Kyle and Jay's Q&A, where I'm not sure what we're going to answer, what questions we're going to answer, but we'll figure that out too. That is Wednesday. Thursday, Jen King will be back with What's in the Box. The Geek Chat will be back giving their opinions on all things geeky. And we will have Sketch Up with Mel and Mog, which I think I'm not hosting this week. With Sketch Up with Mel and Mog. Then Friday, you'll see Matthias and Jay here. I will be indisposed. But then we do it all over again next week. So just make sure you tune in and check out everything. Hit like, hit subscribe, click the bell. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Twitch, all those places. And if you wouldn't mind, head over to the internet and just search Cherry Capital Comic Con, cherrycapitalcon.com, one of those things, and just support the show, support the Gary Reed Awards, and make sure that they know that you came from us, so they can keep inviting you back as the unofficial, uninvited, unwanted media partner.
There you go. I'm really excited about the Gary Reed Awards. I am so happy to hear the EXP is going to be streaming that live because I love every single one. Ryan Clater is a friend I love to death. Christina is not only a brilliant comic retailer with a local comic shop, but also a comic writer and a doctorate holder. She is everything in one. Gene Ha, every single one of these nominees, amazing people. It'll be really great to see who wins this award.
Yeah, we got a minute left. Gary Reed was very important to my own comic journey. It was very important to so many of my friends' comic journeys here in Michigan with Caliber Comics and the shop he owned. And I do want to give a special shout out to Dan and Katie Merritt, Green Brain Comics. They're celebrating in 2 weeks, but this past week was the 40th anniversary of when Gary opened his store in Detroit. That is now Green Brain Comics. And so they have been a shop for 40 years this week. And I just want to give them a shout out. As hard as this business is to make it that long. And Katie has been working there since almost the beginning. So again, like shout out to those guys, great retailers, friends of Matthias and I's. We see them at Comics Pro and all around, celebrating the 40th anniversary of their store. And again, we're coming up on next week will be the 7th anniversary of Gary's unfortunate passing. So again, it's a time where all of us here in this community are remembering a legend who gave so many people their start. I mean, you don't get Joe Pruitt, you don't get Bob Burden, you don't get so many of these people without Caliber Comics. And at the same time, like this show doesn't exist without Caliber Comics. So shout out to those guys. And again, congratulations to Dan and Katie.
Absolutely. And that's what we always love. Whether your comic shop is celebrating its first week and first FOC, or it is celebrating its grand anniversary of decades in the business, the idea is you need to be reading more comics. I'm going to quote what Matthew Rosenberg's saying. You need to read more effing comics. And to do that, you got to go to your local comic shop. You got to support comics, whether they're local comics to big ones like Batman and Superman, Spider-Man, and the X-Men. Support comics, read comics, share this with everyone. Make sure they can get their comics by ordering from local comic shops in advance of final order cutoff. And as always, be good to one another. Check out the EXP for more comic news, whether it's to buy comics, to buy artwork, to learn about comics, or to get your orders in every Monday before 6 p.m.
See you later, everybody. Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.